just a quick recap of what we talked about, perhaps what we might have learned, but it needs to be, I don't know, a minute to a minute and a half each. So then we'll head over to the next session. So if it's okay, does one of the moderators want to go first?
Okay, this is Ben. I'll do a very fast recap.
Great, thanks, Ben.
So we really only got to 3 questions. I'm not going to go through all the bits of it, but really looking at data quantity. What are the challenges around that? What are the opportunities for data connectivity in the water space, and where will successful advanced analytics really fit into the water space? And I think the just 4 quick takeaways is you got to focus on benefits. Everything that we do has to be engineering based. We've got to be able to display and discuss all of these strategies in layman's terms, make sure it's accessible, and really emphasize human choice and keep it action focused. We're not trying to take away choice, we're trying to enhance choice. So that's my quick, 20, 30 second overview.
So I'm Rodrigo from Bentley Systems. So we were addressing our vision for an open digital twin for achieving sustainability goals. So basically what we discussed here was how relevant is to have an open ecosystem for with open source strategy, so that we can have collaboration from multiple organizations, because at the end of the day, and we have presented that with DC Water, which was here in the meeting, showing the advantages of having a system that is vendor agnostic, the possibilities of connecting several different types of data, and also this openness also allows us at the end of the day to use digital twins for third-party solutions. Even if it's outside of Bentley Systems commercial model, the same platform and ecosystem can be used outside. So this was discussed. Also, some pitfalls that were discussed here regarding security issues. So there are a lot of concerns about security. So we discussed that and how important is to establish a system that focus on security as well. And of course, we addressed the sustainability aspects. So we presented some aspects, some important issues like transparency and reporting. So using digital twins for better reporting and transparency, and achieve the science-based targets that we are expected to achieve in the next 20 years or more. So, and digital twins can play a key role on this, for instance, for carbon footprint reporting.
Yeah, this is Seth, and we had Westmoreland County talk about their journey to digital. And really, a couple of things jumped out. Number one, the technology is not the limiting factor anymore. It's, it's the right application of the right technology to make sure you're supporting the workflows that you have and meeting the business requirements that you've established as part of that digital transformational journey. The other piece that, I thought was interesting is, we talked about, can you become too digital, right? Is there danger to becoming overly dependent on digital technologies? And really, I think the takeaway there is that the cost benefit from taking that digital journey and really starting to focus on a lot of the workflows and processes that, when you're doing paper, you're not focused on, and starting to identify the benefits of moving to those digital workflows is really worth that transition for making the journey in the first place.
So this is Anto with Padi.io. I've been involved with integration for the past 30 years, and I see digital twin as a significant integration challenge. And what we have created that is evolving within the Digital Twin Consortium is a integration mechanism called Connection Profile. That is really a virtual integration between systems that allows the connection profile to define how 2 entities should talk with each other in terms of the protocol it uses, in terms of the data flow that it enables, and also in terms of trust, security, resiliency and reliability, and a whole other set of attributes. And so the intent of Connection Profile is to be able to facilitate the integration between anything with anything else that need to communicate, using any protocol and any sort of semantic models. So it's evolving within Digital Twin Consortium as an open mechanism to do that. And there was quite a bit of discussion about the value of doing this, the value of making integration a plug and play act rather than an engineering act at every point where you actually need to connect multiple systems together. So that's it was really a good discussion, and John Dieter sort of brought out the value from a trust and security perspective of how this can enable that at scale. Thank you.
Can I jump in next? I'm Vikki from ARUP. We were discussing some of the successes and challenges, and also some of the pitfalls in terms of developing an application or developing digital twins. And some of the elements that came up universally was around getting accessible, good quality data, which has the right metadata, is described in the right way so that it is usable, and also how people can access that knowledge and how to access that data. We rather ambitiously tried to run that through an actual example by looking at a borehole pump system. And then what we wanted to do is look at what are the value drivers for effectively, for the use case we were looking at, which was around energy efficiency of a borehole, and what did you need to do to drive the value, and what did you need to do to, what were the constraints of accessing that value. And some of those things are that you know, lots of the data is completely different, the pumps could be all different, and knowledge could be in people's heads, and how do you access that?
I think one of the other things I could add, Vikki, was a point about multidisciplinary nature. One of the good things about one of the successes of digital twin projects is they bring people together in a multidisciplinary team and working in an agile way compared to the traditional waterfall method. The same speaker was also talking about the difficulty of getting security clearance for all the things they wanted to connect from their security police. But I felt the multidisciplinary aspect of it was something which is often not tangible, but which was very powerful in terms of the culture change.
Hi, it's Gary Wong. I'll go next. And in our session, we talked about there were a lot of data silos that our utilities are struggling with today because there's so many different vendors. There's a lack of standards, protocols, or APIs. And this is now starting to get more complicated because these silos are being formed at the edge, on premise, and in the cloud. So you have physical locations that are also there as well. However, the challenge is not the technology, is kind of what Seth said. You know, the technology is out there. It's, I think, making the industry and the utilities aware that this all exists completely out of the box. And then also the topic of data quality came up. However, we as a team found that it's a great opportunity and a catalyst to actually start cleaning the data, because you're realizing that some of the data might be erroneous. So as you start to use it, you can start to clean it up. And then, of course, virtual sensors play a massive role in digital twin. So there's some good discussions around the use of virtual sensors, what they are, how would you use those. And at the end of the day, we really want to identify the business issues at hand that we're trying to resolve and address. And it's really important, especially for the utilities, is just to get started somewhere. Thank you.
I'll jump in next. Elizabeth Hayes. We had, just to kind of build on what Gary and others have just said, you know, we had a really interesting discussion. You know, everybody was is kind of at the beginning of their digital transformation journey and looking for a place to start. So we talked about the importance of really starting with an end goal in mind. And so we looked at the specific example of a pump system optimization and a digital twin around pump systems. That's what we do at Specific Energy. And so we talked about, you know, the importance of getting the right data, being able to have flexibility built into a physics-based model to allow for things like demand charges and other constraints that come into play at different times. We talked about the need to capture kind of institutional knowledge with an aging workforce as people are retiring, and we have a new set of skills coming into the utility sector. So it was a really, really good discussion.
Yeah, I can go next, Igor. We spoke about, like everybody else, about the data quality. I explained that what customers expect from BIM as one of the components of digital twin is not what they actually ever gonna get unless they establish a strict system of requirements. We discussed the validity and reliability of open source data. Can we rely on it during the simulations? We discussed the security. Deployment on premise versus the cloud as this colonial pipeline example of how the cloud and loose security can affect a lot of people. And yeah, primarily it was about the BIM and the value of requirements and tools for controlling the QC/QA process when you build a digital twin.
So thank you all so much for joining these interactive sessions, and thank you host for hosting them. The recordings will all remain available.